something better left unknown. And I'll never find you here, 'cause no one's ever What's the truth in this riddle? Is love really just this simple? I can't seem to find my way in this world that never stays. She's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. What a sinner, is it in her? Just illusion, manifestation, or a dark delusion? Is this real or just illusion? I'm lost in a...
Tonight's broadcast of the Dark Wolf's Den radio show will be a random rebroadcast of an episode in our vault. So I'm going to unlock the vault and randomly crank up here one of our featured Jerry Hicks Dark Wolf's Den radio shows. This rebroadcast will be randomly selected for your listening pleasure. As this will be a live rebroadcast, the chat room will be current and in real time for tonight's rebroadcast. Let's take you back now in time to Wednesday, March 3rd, 2021.
Rabbit Hole is a community-driven radio. At times the community comments may reveal prejudices and other beliefs that we or our sponsors do not condone. Views or opinions expressed by the community, callers, or guests are those of the individual speaking and do not represent the views or opinions of this site. Ripon Common Sense content is intended for mature audiences only. Enjoy.
Hello. This is My Life DIY, and
hi, this is JoJo.
Hi, my name is Ash.
Hey everybody, it's AJ the Ripon Rabbit.
This is Cynthia Sue Larson.
This is your man Meta, aka Propagate This Light.
And you're now listening
to Dark Wolf's Den.
The Dark Wolf's Den Show on Ripon Common Sense Radio.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Are ghosts real?
We had 1,000 hours of continuous communication with the spirit world.
Does time travel actually exist?
The laws of physics seem to be compatible with time machines.
You know, sometimes I wonder about reincarnation. Don't you?
A 4-year-old boy in Adelaide, Australia, has told his parents that he used to be Britain's Princess Diana.
What would happen if the world found out that aliens were real?
I didn't say disclosure would be easy, but what is the alternative?
To establish a space force as the 6th branch of the armed forces.
We have so many questions and yet so little time, so to have you here, the pleasure is all mine.
Coming to you from a secret mountain cave, hidden deep within the Idaho wilderness. This is the Dark Wolf's Den Show. Now, here is your host, Jerry Hicks.
That's right, I am Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf, and we are broadcasting live worldwide from a secret mountain cave hidden high up in the beautifully snow-covered peaks of the Idaho mountains. That's right, we're ripping through the electromagnetic soup, tearing through the atmosphere, and tunneling away into your radio like a quantum particle. This is the Dark Wolf's Den Show for Wednesday, March 3rd, 2021. So whether you're on the edge of reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a very special guest. Our friend Nick Natoli is going to be here tonight. That's right. He is a rap artist as well as a paranormal and conspiracy theorist researcher. I'm sure we're going to have a wonderful conversation, and I can't wait to get connected with him over in the Zoom room here in just a couple moments. But first, today in history. We're going to keep a musical theme going tonight, ladies and gentlemen. On this day in 1955, Mr. Elvis Presley makes his very first TV appearance on a broadcast radio show called Louisiana Hayride. That's right. That was on this day in 1955, ladies and gentlemen, and that is today's Today in History. And Elvis has always been a bit of a inspiration for many, many musical artists over the years, and I'm pretty sure our guest tonight will be no different. I'm definitely going to have to ask him that question, right, ladies and gentlemen? Our guest tonight is a rap artist, a hip-hop artist signed to Warner Chappell Music Publishing. He originally gained fame and notoriety from Bravo's platinum hit and quickly began writing and producing for artists like Zendaya, Snoop Dogg, French Montana, YG, Neon Hitch, Bianca Ryan, Sam Bruno, and countless others. He is based in Hollywood, but from New Jersey originally. He plays 5 instruments and is multi-talented. He has just released his latest album entitled Little Nicky, which sold over 40,000 copies in its first week. Natoli has since focused on putting out creative music videos, which features idols from his childhood, old movie characters, as well as even some of our latest presidents. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, he is here in the den tonight to discuss paranormal conspiracy and all things fun, right? Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, we're going to go over here real quick and we're going to connect with Nick in the Zoom room. So go ahead, put ones in the chat room, and let's give him a great big warm welcome from all of you guys, you rabbits out here at the Ripon Rabbit Hole. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back with Nick Natoli in just a second.
And I guess we'll never know, that's how it goes. I guess we'll never know who blew the towers up. The real reason why our troops were rounded up. Lies printed in the paper and the articles. But man, I guess that's how their story goes. They wanna lie and tell you red is blue. Now they wanna act like up is down too. anything to get you not to find the truth. I've been down this rabbit hole since I was only 22.
All right, and ladies and gentlemen, we have with us, as you guys know, the great Nick Natoli. Thank you so much for being here, Nick. And you actually reached out to me, is that correct?
That is correct, and I appreciate you for having me on, man.
My absolute pleasure, my friend. So you are a musical artist, is that right? You're a hip-hop musician?
I am.
And how long have you been doing music?
I've been doing music all my life, professionally since I was 22. I got my start on a TV show called Bravo's Platinum Hit. It was kind of like an American Idol for songwriters. It had the same judge from American Idol, Carrie Diagordi, and that was kind of like my foot into the industry.
Gotcha. And there are some clips available. Are those on YouTube? You sent me earlier, the Bravo clips?
Yeah. Yes.
So there's clips on YouTube as well as Bravo.com, I think, hosts a couple of them. That you can go check out his work on. What was it called again? Platinum?
Platinum Hit.
Platinum Hit. Bravo's Platinum Hits. That's awesome, man. And after that, you started like writing music for bigger stars. Is that correct? Or were you already writing for some of the bigger names?
Yeah, I did. After the TV show, I started a record label, and that label eventually started working with artists like Snoop Dogg, French Montana, YG. And then I worked with a few other artists on my own, Neon Hitch, Sam Bruno, etc. And then I leveraged that into a publishing deal with Warner Chappell Music Publishing, and I'm still currently signed. I got signed in 2018, and then after all those names that I work with, I started my own artist project and kind of went on a solo thing.
Rock on. So now that you've got your own project, is there any like themes that you're like really trying to push? Is there any? Because I noticed in your music you kind of have a specific theme to your writing.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't really want like the conspiracy stuff to take over what I do as far as a musician, but I definitely want to leave my mark, on the people that listen to me and let them know what I think about certain topics. So it's kind of split. If you really listen to my music, some of it is just some pop songs you could bop your head to, and some of it is some real conspiracy talk and some real facts being thrown your way about, nefarious stuff going on in the government, underground bases, reptilian aliens, you name it. Bill Clinton,
the whole gambit. That's right.
Yeah, adrenochrome, all of it.
Oh, dude, you have been doing some deep research. So you've got a very aesthetic sound to that. The song you sent me, what was it called?
How It Goes.
How It Goes. Sorry, I do apologize. I enjoyed the song. I just couldn't remember the actual name.
Right on.
Really funny. I love the masks, the whole making fun. I caught the blue dress. Thought that was hilarious. Great,
nice.
Great touch.
Nice.
The more times I watch that, the more little symbols and stuff I've noticed you throwing in there.
There's a lot in there, man.
There is a ton. I mean, I can go scene by scene and tear the sucker down, and there's so much.
Yeah.
What were your inspirations for this?
Honestly, a big inspiration came from the fact that nobody is doing this, and I've never really seen anybody do this. So I kind of was inspired to do my own thing by the fact that other people weren't inspiring me.
Love it.
I figured I'd be the first to do something that no one's ever done. Yeah.
So, what were your musical inspirations? As we had in our Today in History just a little bit earlier, Elvis's first TV appearance was today in 1955.
Oh,
yes,
wow.
Sir. It was on a radio show that was being TV broadcast, amazingly enough. I don't know how they call it radio if it's on TV, but
right. I love Elvis, man.
So what were some of your influences growing up, musical influences growing up?
Michael Jackson's a huge one. I literally grew up on this VHS cassette tape called Moonwalker.
Man, yes.
You remember Moonwalker? With
the
Joe
movie,
Pesci?
the cassette, the book, I had it all, dude.
Yeah. So he was a huge inspiration. When I got a little bit older, I gravitated to punk rock music, bands like NoFX, Blink-182, Sex Pistols, Ramones, and stuff. I was like a full-on punk rock kid. And then, hip hop came around. Eminem was a huge influence for me. Tupac Shakur. Anybody who the government, has a problem with is most likely my inspiration. Bob Marley, you name it.
The thing about Tupac, what was great about him is he would rap about real stuff, real political things that are going on. It wasn't just kill this person, sell that drug, do this, do that. He actually had real political motivated speech. He was really on point about what was going on. That was what made him so different than everyone else.
Big time.
And did
Big time.
music lead you into paranormal, or was that a total separate gig there?
To be honest with you, I think that my curiosity and my sense of wonder really led me to just kind of hop online and look at all this stuff. I was on an LSD trip with my friend in college, and we were at his dorm room, and we were tripping on LSD, and we typed in conspiracy theories, and that one enter button, man, really changed my life, because we watched it on LSD, which I think was great because it was so impactful and it was so real and we were so into it. And the moment we started sobering up after 16 hours, we realized, I asked my buddy, I said, like, was that stuff real or were we tripping? And once we sobered up and realized that there was truth to what we were watching, it sent me down a rabbit hole with Alice like never before, man.
Gotcha. Oh, yeah, definitely. I think we've all jumped down a multitude of those rabbit holes. Yeah, paranormal is something I've studied since I was 12 years old, 28 years in it. And that rolls into conspiracy theory. Of course, you always run across the government, especially when you ufology. You're going to run into your government black ops and your MIBs, and it goes right back to the conspiracies, and it all ties together somehow. All 100% holes are connected.
100%.
So what was that one that got you like, okay, this is real, this is intense, like, oh my God, we've been lied to?
Yeah, man, I'm from Garfield, New Jersey. So 9/11 being an inside job was something that I took very personal. A lot of my friends and family had friends and family in those towers. So it wasn't like it was something that was way far off for me. It really hit home. And I had people around me who really just didn't believe. And I feel like if they were all conspiracy theorists throwing it down my throat, I may not have gone down the rabbit hole that I did. But because they were so in denial of like Building 7 not being hit by a plane, it just kind of woke me up to, the fact that this is a real problem in the aggregate in society, and that it's really important that somebody or a lot of people start waking other people up. It's like the domino effect. One person is strong. And I've always felt that my voice is very powerful. I've never felt like I'm, that I'm not heard, you know what I mean? Or that I'm not powerful. So that kind of led me down the path as well.
And I would say you've definitely got a good platform to use that, to put that word out there, to put those messages out there, to wake up the masses. And
yeah, I mean, I worked hard for it.
It's something that's amazing to see the masses waking up in mass. And have you noticed that in the last couple of years that people are just much more awake to what's not woke, awake to what's going on?
I've definitely noticed that. There was a big surge this summer of people that I never thought would get so-called conscious or awake. And there was like soccer moms that were tweeting about adrenochrome and talking about, all this stuff with Epstein and the Wayfair conspiracy. It was a crowd of people that I knew were not conspiracy theorists. And that to me gave me hope more than anything.
I did a show a little while back about conspiracy theories. And would you agree that it is one of the most important things in society to have conspiracy theories? Because if not, the bad guys will get away with doing the bad stuff.
100%. I think we should remove PE, physical education, and remove all these, classes that are just like cooking class. I learned how to bake cookies in junior high, as opposed to learning how to manage a checkbook. I think that kids should be, really integrated in music and really integrated in their right brain capabilities, as opposed to just their left brain capabilities, as opposed to just knowing math and science and have logic and analytical thinking. Those are important, don't get me wrong, but they're not as important as, or not more important than some of the right brain things, our creative side, our compassionate side. Those are all the things that I feel like are being kind of exiled from school right now, especially right now.
Especially right now. And I would go a step further and say it's being exiled from society in general through our, quote, unsocial social media and things like that. I would say that compassion is really being kind of wrung out of the populace in general, more so than just in school. And that's the scary part, because the schools, they're indoctrinating our kids to a generation that we aren't having a real say in.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's by design. I mean, the fact that the school systems have these classes and they're way more important than actually learning how to manage finances and stuff like that. The government doesn't want you to know how to manage finances. The government doesn't want you to know how to get richer or how to take whatever wealth you have and implode it. They don't want that. What do they want? They want a mindless drone population of people who don't know what's going on but could bake a cookie and put on their gym shorts and run around a track 15 times. You know what I mean? That's conducive to what they're trying to build.
And, I was talking to somebody earlier, and this very point come up. The fact that learning is memorizing and remembering to write the answer on a piece of paper. That's not researching. That's not self-teaching. That's learning. Right. That's remembering what you were told and repeating it. And that's all you're good for. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but that's all you're really going to be good for is repeating what you heard if you don't take the time to look for yourself. And that's a message that you yourself push quite a bit. Is that correct?
I'm very passionate about that. That is correct. And I know that our brains are split into two hemispheres, left brain and right brain, and memorization of facts is a left brain capability. So if I remember what you told me, that's great. But if I don't have the right brain portion of the right hemisphere of our brain working correctly, then I won't have a creative thought about what I just learned. I won't be able to write a story or write a song about what I just heard. And that, to me, is true holistic intelligence, to comprise these two hemispheres of our brain and have them working in accordance with each other. That's what intelligence is. So intelligence, if you break it down in Latin, it comes from intel, which is the left portion, the intel, to be able to remember and compromise all these facts. Well, then the right brain is the gens, where we get genre. So that means to create. It comes from generation, to generate, etc. So intel and gens need to be holistically combined. These two things, that's what comprises intelligence. And most people don't have that. They're intellectuals, but they're not intelligent. They don't have the creative portion of their brains working in a holistic manner to where they can make an idea out of what they just heard. They can just repeat the facts back. And that's why they're pushing a left brain hemisphere society.
And scientism at its very, very worst or best, your choice on that.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Do you know, I'm sure you've done the research, do you know why the schools were set up originally to begin with, what the purpose of schooling was?
I actually don't.
So it was set up because they needed to create a population that could work the factories. They didn't need a smart population. They needed a smart enough population.
Wow.
So they teach you, literally indoctrinate to a certain degree, the basics, math, reading, writing, arithmetic, what you would need to know to go off and work 12, 18 hours in a factory and do your 9 to 5, your 9 to 9, go home, get your meal, get your news, your rest of your indoctrination for the day, and carry on to bed and, get stuck in that vicious cycle. That was the original reason the Carnegies funded so much of the schooling, was to enact the labor force of the factory worker at the time.
Wow. And then we haven't moved very far from there since. And I think the intention is very clear, because the moment you're done with high school, then you need to, everything's about college, going to college, because you're about 18 and we're worried about you having your own ideas. So please get another 4 years in. And then when you're done with that, go to a job and work 9 to 5 and come home, and you should get married. And I hate to say this, but like, a woman can be a very, very bad thing for a conscious man. I don't think that I got conscious by being in relationships all the time. A lot of it was being on my own and staying up till 4 o'clock in the morning and researching. I think that a lot of guys get locked into something with a woman and a relationship and their dinner and their kids. And then consciousness by 40 is over, bro.
You're so right. I mean, absolutely. I've had this conversation a lot with some friends in the backstage. I know some over in the chat right now will be agreeing with me. That's you, Juanito, I'm looking at over there. But I've had this conversation quite a bit, and it's the fact that it's a lonely road we walk. It really is. It's a rewarding road, and it's a knowledgeable road, but it is a lonely road. And that's for a multitude of reasons, from safety reasons all the way down to just, like you said, you're up to 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning researching what's going on in the underhanded world of God knows what, and you're learning and you're finding all these facts. And if not, you would have this distraction and that distraction, unless you get lucky and the woman you find is just as into the crazy as you are.
And it's very rare. Very rare.
Super, super rare. I've run across a couple recently that I've really been I've got a special friend in studio with me here, as you see.
Right on.
Yeah, most people know I'm usually by myself in here. So yeah, my special friend Randy here with me. She's very open-minded, just the same.
Right on.
And it's very, very
Hands up.
And it's very rare to find, especially females, who are willing to speak out, because there is just as much more stigma on a female to be right and proper and correct and not say the wrong thing as, you know, when it comes to speaking out against, say, those mosquitoes they try to put in us nowadays, you know.
Right. Right.
Tried to
You know, it's funny when it comes to a conscious woman, and I mean this in the most unsexist way that I can say it. I find that usually that woman has a lot of her father in her. I find that usually the dynamic there is that the gene pool was a little bit more split from dad than it was from mom, because women really don't like this stuff. It's not really their field when it comes to, at the end of the day, like they have an interest in it. But as far as really going down the path of enlightenment and really learning about all this stuff, it's very rare, and it's rare for a reason, because it's kind of, I don't want to say it's a man's job, but it's very masculine to have the balls to kind of go down this path, because you are going to be alone. Your friends are going to leave you, and your parents are going to cast you out. And that's something that you have to be very strong and Teflon for. And most women, you know, would rather take the easier path than the hard one when it comes down to that. So if you find one that is, it's very admirable.
So, yeah, do you have a lot of synchronicities that happen around you?
Tons.
So
I see signs all over the place,
this
man.
very moment, you just stated you're on the right pathway. You just said that. So, and people can't see the camera here.
Okay.
Show you, of course, because we are on radio, legit.
Okay.
But, I'm going to show you so you can verify what I'm saying. She just handed me this. She cannot hear the conversation at all.
Okay.
So she goes, "Hey, look at this. This is what it says. I want you to read what this says."
You're on the right path.
There we go. This was
Wow.
showing up at the same time you were saying
Wow.
that to me. She goes, hey. Like I said, she can't hear what's being said in these headphones.
Crazy.
So talk about
crazy.
That was amazing, even to me. And those happen a lot to me. And you said they happen to you a lot too, yeah?
They do. They do.
Do you get a lot of these synchronistic numbers? 11-11s, 12-12s, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I have scotoma, because sometimes all I see are the numbers that I'm researching at a certain moment, or you know what I mean, like 66, 33, 13, etc. I feel like those numbers just keep popping up, but I'm like, is that just me? Am I just seeing?
Right.
So,
do you know anything about the Mandela effect?
Yeah, I do. I haven't. That's probably one of the least researched things I'm on. That and flat Earth, I do not know much, but the Mandela effect. To me, it sounds so crazy, but then I've had certain things where I'm like, wait, I remember them being the Bernstein Bears or whatever, and there's just certain things that I remember from my past that are not here today. And my brother is somebody who I'm always trying to wake up, and I'm trying to get him to go down the path of enlightenment. And so I asked him, and he doesn't believe in any conspiracy theories, but he's somewhat open to the Mandela effect. So I thought that was interesting.
Now that's awesome. So I don't know if you know or not, a lot of people listening, I'm sure already know, I'm the founder of the International Mandela Effect Conference. So,
oh, wow.
To say I believe in it is a little bit of an understatement at this point.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll learn some more about it through you then.
So I've got a question for you then. We've no nothing memorabilia, nothing around, you know, it's just me and you and the camera. I can see this. Yep. So you've got a tattoo, correct? If I'm right, of JFK, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so you've looked into JFK quite a bit, yeah?
Right here.
Oh, look at the JFK tattoo. Digging that. I love
looking
that.
Good right there. Got a good portrait of him right there.
That's a really darn good portrait.
Yeah.
Whoever your artist was, man, well done.
I got lucky.
Shading and...
I got lucky. I walked into some random joint with my girlfriend, and the powers above were with me, because it's a beautiful tattoo.
Absolutely incredible, guys. I'm talking, this is portrait quality tattoo work. I wish this was a radio sometimes so you guys could see some of this stuff.
Right.
On the real though, you've studied JFK.
Big time.
So tell me, how many people were in the car when the event occurred?
4.
4. Okay, 4 people.
Right.
So, yeah, I would say 4 people. When I studied it, it was 4 people. All of our audience, I'm sure at least 9/10 of our audience would agree, it was 4 people. However, history now says it was 6 people in a 3-seater, not a 2-seater car. You've got...
Well, history is also pushing the Warren Commission. So.
Fair point. But, I mean, all the evidence you can find now says that this was a 3-seater with 6 people. I mean, all the evidence, all of it. And
I don't even know how that would work.
I don't. Well, I'll tell you who was in a minute. I haven't stopped framed on your video. I know you show a picture of the car in your video, and this is actually a requested question from one of our mods out there.
Awesome.
When we watched your video, she's like, "Hey, he's got the JFK car. You need to ask him about that. That's a Mandela effect. Everybody remembers 4 people in the car. However, it was Secret Service driver and
Connolly.
Hold on a minute. I can't remember who's in the PC read this second. Anyway, Connolly and his wife, and then Jackie and the president. But there were 2 people. It might have been 2 Secret Service agents. I can't remember where I was in the front seat. And then Connolly and his wife was behind, and then it was the president and Jackie. Now,
I mean, unless they're counting that Secret Service agent who is getting waved off and told to not follow the motor cart, I don't know what they're talking about.
And I wish I had it pulled up right now so I could actually show you. It's something I need you to actually go look and research. It's a well-known man.
I will. The only thing I could think there is there are 2 Secret Service agents at each end of the motorcade. So there's
no. We're talking in the car.
That's what I'm saying. If there's only 4 in the car, so I'm like, maybe they counted.
There's 6 now in the car.
Wow.
Okay, you got it pulled up there now. There you go.
Yeah, my girlfriend just pulled this up for me right now. Wow. I don't even know how to respond to that other than believing in the Mandela effect 100% at this point.
I love it. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Nick Natoli just 100% admitted. He now
I'm very curious how this will play out in the JFK movie. That is filmed, shot, and done and printed. That
okay, so you're talking about the Zapruder film.
I'm talking about JFK, the movie.
Oh, the movie.
Stone.
Gotcha. Yeah. The Stone movie. Ooh, I'm curious myself now. I haven't even thought to go look at that.
I'm going to rewatch it tonight after this shit.
Nice.
Yeah.
Luckily, we got a censor button quick enough to catch some of those. So
right. Sorry about that.
No worries, my friend. Just let's try to minimize it as much as possible. Anyway, but yeah, totally lost my train of thought. So Mandela effect. There we go. Yeah. So JFK is a big one. That's a huge one in the community. I personally remember 4 when I studied it. It was 4. The Zapruder film. You remember seeing the Zapruder film, right?
Of course.
Was it in black and white or color?
Black and white.
Never can I find a black and white copy at this point. It never existed in black and white. And the film that I see now is not Zapruder film that I remember. Jackie does completely different. I don't know why Jackie wasn't suspect number 1 if you look at the actions that occur in that film. She literally bends his head over, has her hand to his head like this, and then you see this side go like, we know what happened to the president. I can't be too graphic here.
I always attributed that to shock, but it's anything is possible.
So right before it happens, she pulls his head down again, her hands like that, and then looks like she dropped something behind the seat now. This is my opinion that she looks like she dropped something.
Right.
But it looks a lot different than the film footage that I remember watching.
Yeah. No, I'm going to have to take a look at all of it again tonight.
Yeah, Zapruder, if you can find a black and white Zapruder film, please send it to me.
I will.
You've got my email. I cannot find a black and white Zapruder, period.
Wow. That's crazy, man. it's almost like, I mean, as much as I want to believe that they're just like forces that are doing this, or you know, there's some time warp, it could just be the United States government trying to clean up and, you know, save themselves. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Mandela effect could just be the machine.
I mean, it's not the worst idea, right? I mean, there's all kinds of theories. There's the simulation theory. There's CERN theory. There's a lot of different ideas for why things could be different from the Berenstein Bears, which was the one all it took for me. I was 100% in the moment I see that wasn't right.
Yeah, I knew something was funky too.
Jiffy, on my channel right now, I made a video in 2018 with all the evidence I could find for Jiffy peanut butter. That is still my most watched video every day.
I don't know anything about the Jiffy thing. Please educate me.
Do you remember Jiffy peanut butter?
Of course.
We're going to have to go to break here in just a second, but before we go to break real quick, Jiffy peanut butter has never, ever, ever existed.
Okay, now I know the Mandela effect is real.
It's always been Jif. Jiffy has never been a thing. It's always had the same color scheme. No. It's always been Jif.
No, that's incorrect. It was Jiffy.
I 100% agree.
100%. There's no even question in my mind for that.
Right.
I have the image in my mind, in my third eye. I can see Jiffy right now. I know what it looks like. I grew up on that. P&J's is what we lived on, man. We were broke.
What you said. And if you go to the store now, you're going to find, it was just a marketing change. But you can't find a marketing change. According to the marketing and everything in history, it's always and always from day one been Jif. Now, here's the interesting fact. According to the story now, the guy that originally invented it, and once again, we got to go to break here real quick, but the guy who originally invented the peanut butter, before he sold it to the Procter & Gamble and would later become Smucker's and all that, he actually called it Jiffy peanut butter.
So that's a fact. We know that it was called Jiffy.
By the original creator, but when he sold it and it became a commercial brand, it was never sold as a commercial brand as Jiffy. That's the only way we would know it as Jiffy, from the store shelves. You know what I mean?
No, man, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. It was definitely called Jiffy peanut butter. I had a box of it, like, you know.
It was the good stuff.
I was right.
And people said, well, now it's whatever their Jif slogan is now. Choose your mom, choose Jif. No, it was lunch in a Jiffy. Freaking remember the slogan. It was lunch in a Jiffy.
Man, that's so crazy.
But you can't find any of that now. All right, so we got to go ahead and take a network break right here. So, Nick, go ahead and hold on one moment. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be back after these messages. Don't you touch that dial. That's right.
We got to stoke the fires and run off the men in black. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
Oh, yeah. Jerry Hicks live rebroadcast on a Thursday night. Hi, everyone. It's AJ, the Ripon Rabbit. Are you enjoying tonight's random vault selection of Jerry Hicks and the Dark Wolf's Den radio show from Wednesday, March 3rd, 2021? His special guest, Nick, I know I am. If you are and you haven't done so already, please make sure to hop on over to our website, riponrabbithole.com. That's RIPONRABBITHOLE.com. There you can sign up for your exclusive Backstage VIP pass. It's going to give you unfiltered access down the rabbit hole to where the conversation continues after the show. I'll be back again tomorrow night to take you through the rest of the weekend, Friday Night Live, Friday, May 20th. Come along with me as we journey deep down the rabbit hole and through the life of TikTok celebrity and special guest, Andre. That's right. Andre from Out of the Hat will be here tomorrow. It's going to be an incredible journey as he has become quite the TikTok sensation. If you have TikTok and you haven't checked out Andre, be sure to do so before tomorrow, May 20th, 2022. Andre will join me and be my special guest. And I got to tell you, he has some of the most creative TikToks I've seen online ever. I'm really excited to spend a night with Andre. Again, it starts at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, as all shows do. Again, that's tomorrow, Friday, May 20th, 2022. Then Saturday night, May 21st, 2022. Come along with me as we dive deep down the rabbit hole and explore the untouched mysteries uncovered by the explorers and exploration of this earth. What do we still not know about the planet that we live on as we explore the moon and Mars and the rest of the universe? What is hiding yet to be explored here on Earth? We'll find out Saturday, May 21st. Then we'll end out the weekend right together with you with another special guest. Bree from MyLittleHomestead.com will be here. They moved from the city to the country in 2005. And since then, they've been building structures. They've been raising livestock and growing their own food. And they are absolutely crazy about family, nutrition, and what it takes in today's day and age to grow a family. You won't want to miss that Sunday, May 22nd. You're listening to the Ripon Common Sense Radio Network. We'll return back now to Wednesday, March 3rd, 2021.
This is My Life DIY, and
Hi, this is JoJo.
Hi, my name is Ash.
Hey everybody, it's AJ the Ripon Rabbit.
This is Cynthia Sue Larson.
This is your man Meta, aka Propagate This Light.
And you're now listening
to Dark Wolf's Den.
The Dark Wolf's Den Show on Ripon Common Sense Radio.
If you were meant to be controlled, you would have come with a remote, but you didn't. And that's why you listen to the Dark Wolf's Den Show. Now, here is your host, Jerry Hicks.
That's right, I am Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf. And welcome back to the second half of the Dark Wolf's Den Show for Wednesday, March 3rd, 2021. So whether you're on the edge of reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, do make sure you hop on over to the RiponRabbitHole.com. That is RiponRabbitHole.com. That's right. Over there, you're going to find one of my favorite things, the Down the Rabbit Hole section, which is our version of social media. Sign up for your Backstage Pass over there, and you'll be able to access all the wonderful and incredible things we have to offer on that site. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. And speaking of things to offer, we've got an offer tonight that I just cannot resist. See, a buddy of mine, Mr. Nick Natoli, a new buddy of mine, I guess you'd say, sent us an email last week and asked to do an interview here on the show. First person who's ever reached out to me for an interview, so of course we gladly took him up on the offer. And if you've missed the first half, definitely go back and listen to it. You've missed one heck of a conversation already. And we're going to continue on with the second half and get back into the conversation. So give me just a moment. We'll get connected back over to the Zoom room and we'll get Nick back on the line. We'll be right back after just a moment.
I ain't gotta say too much, you already know. No secrets anymore. Seems like everybody knows. There's no lies left to expose. Well, I guess that's how it goes. All the bombs went up in smoke. All the stars and stripes in bold. All his stories Barry wrote. Well, I guess that's how it goes. That's how it goes.
And welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back our special guest, Nick Natoli. Thanks for being here with us for the second half. Nick, it's an absolute pleasure having you here, sir.
Thanks for having me, man. Like I said, I really appreciate it.
It is my absolute 100% pleasure. And you've got a chalkboard behind you. Before we get back into things, I got to know what is written on this chalkboard and what is the purpose of this?
So this is a promotion for a foundation that I kind of teamed up with called Children of the Night. And what they do is they help child trafficking victims not only get out of child trafficking rings, but also kind of get their lives together and get their lives back on course afterwards. So the actual link is Band B Drafting. So BANDBDRAFTING.com/muddy up.
Do me a favor, repeat that link one more time.
Yeah, it's Band B Drafting, BANDB, and then the word drafting, DRAFTING.com/muddy up, MUDDYUP. And if you go on there and purchase a T-shirt, half of the proceeds go to Children of the Night to help stop child trafficking and to help child trafficking victims.
Well, I think that is an absolutely 100% amazing charity to give to. And she's got it pulled up here for me now. And I'm going to go ahead and make a donation to this when we get off of here, because that is
awesome.
Something that I 100% support. I think that's absolutely amazing. You reached out to us to do this, so I can definitely reach out and help that charity. And that's something
I really appreciate that, man.
In here.
It's going to a great cause, so that's awesome.
And you got some merch here. So these are different shirt slogans then that you were reading off on the back there?
Yeah. Yep.
So, guys, you want to get you a shirt to help stop the evil going on in the world, definitely support this. I would definitely back this 110%, guys. I think this is a great organization.
Right on, brother.
At. Nick Natoli Music on Facebook, it looks like, is what it's under, right? Where they can find that over there?
Yep.
Perfect. I appreciate that. Children of the Night. That's right. That's awesome. All right. I appreciate that. So we've got this saved here, and like I said, I'm definitely going to go here after the show, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners will gladly help
that's awesome, man.
Out too. So
that's awesome.
With that said, we were speaking about the Mandela effect before we went to break, and there's so many crazy effects that I could go into. I just want to touch just a couple more real quick.
Sure.
Do you remember the Monopoly Man?
Of course.
Did the Monopoly Man have a monocle?
Always.
Always. Never.
See, now you got me. I'm getting no sleep tonight, man. You're going to have me up in the deep, deep rabbit holes tonight.
Oh, I love it, man. This is a rabbit hole that goes deeper than deep. And it's a paranormal rabbit hole. And that's what I've always enjoyed is the paranormal. 28 years altogether, almost 30, I say. But 28 years I've been studying the paranormal. And you've been in research for about 10 years, really deep, hardcore research, you said. Have you had any personal paranormal experiences?
I have, man. I had a very, very crazy paranormal experience, one that most people will not believe. And that's kind of guided me to having the kind of faith that I do in the stuff that I'm researching, because I know what I saw, I know where I went. And for me, it's like I know the truth. So that's kind of helped me believe, to be honest.
Well, now you've sparked my curiosity even more, because one thing we collect on this show is case files. And as you know, from listening to the show, we always go over case files. And I would love to hear your case
outlandish.
Because the more unbelievable it is, the more amazed by it that I am. And we got a couple of fans trying to call in right now. Sorry, guys. Okay. Sorry, cell phone going off there. But
all good.
Seriously, though, I totally lost my train of thought. Where was I at, Nick?
Paranormal experiences.
Okay, the more outlandish, the better. And let me tell you, in my audience, you're in good company. So please, sir, I would love to hear your case file.
All right. I'll tell you this. I really like your show, and I really like your message and your vibe. And therefore, I'm going to be vulnerable with you and tell you this, because I really don't talk about this that often. But
it's an honor to us. Here you go, ladies and gentlemen. An absolute exclusive on the Dark Wolf's Den show. Here you go.
This is the exclusive for sure. So around the time that I got cast on that television show on Bravo, I had previously been meddling with the dark forces of nature and witchcraft and black magic. And I kind of had more of a dark side to me at that point than a light side. And I actually ended up selling my soul to the devil, quote unquote, as much as you could do it. I mean, every method that you've ever read about or heard about, I did it. I gave blood, and I sacrificed stuff. I'll just say that to sell my soul to the devil for riches, fame, everything, a music contract, you name it. After I got off the TV show, I was with a female friend of mine in an apartment that was directly across the street from a Freemason temple. And that was just by design. That I wasn't going there or anything. But we were hanging out, and I was trying I guess it's a somewhat of a new drug called spice. This is a drug that they give people in the military so that they can smoke that as opposed to marijuana, so that they don't test for marijuana. So I was smoking this stuff called spice, which it's not a psychedelic. It's nothing like that. It shouldn't do anything crazy to you. But in this moment that I had, this person completely turned into a new person. And
it's a synthetic, correct?
Yeah. This person turned into what I believe was Satan himself. And I really, in my heart, I know it was at least a dark entity that was channeling her and became her. I did not know where I was. I transferred myself from being in a Los Feliz apartment to being in hell, to being in what I consider as above, so below. I was so below. So it was complete proof to me of alternate dimensions. It was complete proof to me that there's something else. It was basically the exact same setting, but the darkness of it, the worst capabilities of what was above was below. And I met what I believe was a satanic entity, if not the devil himself. And we had a telepathic communication. And I ended up having a full-on freak out. I wasn't able to speak for at least 3 hours. And this girl had no idea what was going on. She rushed out, tried to get me medicine and help me in some way. But I was incapacitated. I couldn't remember any of my songs, my lyrics. All of my mental capabilities had just gone. But I remembered. I knew what I saw, and I knew where I was, and I knew where I wasn't. And for me, it's kind of been alone, very lonely, knowing it wasn't just this drug called spice, which is like, it's nothing. It was just a special moment that I feel like might have been triggered because I did sell my soul to the devil. I did, bleed on a Bible, and like, I did do those things. I did call out for this. So I kind of got my wish.
Careful what you wish for. You
100%.
just might get it. Oh my goodness. So yeah. I've never had anybody openly admit to me face to face that I made a deal with the devil. I've done stories on that, but that's amazing. I've never had somebody face to face admit that. I appreciate the courage of admittance there.
Yeah. Not my best moment.
At least you're honest about it.
Yeah.
Now, you said you lost your abilities for a moment when you encountered this. So do you feel that maybe this might have been a reprieve of the deal, if you will, taking of the talent and to that degree?
Wow, I've never heard that analogy. That gave me chills right now. It's very possible. It's very possible. The telepathic conversation that I had with this dark entity, we'll call it, was somewhat revolving around the music industry and my music career. It was basically like a question that obviously was not spoken to me, and I spoke back without speaking, telepathically, and then the conversation was over.
Gotcha. And I dare not ask the terms of the conversation. I'm sure that's very private between you.
Yeah, I mean, I'll open up about that. It was really just kind of like it was almost as if he was asking me if I really meant what I said. And in that moment, I was scared out of my mind. I mean, to this day, it's the scariest thing that's ever happened to me, hands down. So I think I answered out of fear and, out of having a conscience, and said no. And,
which would make sense if those were the symptoms you experienced thereafter. Now, I'm no demonologist. Get me wrong. I'm talking off the top of my head here.
Yeah.
I could be 100% wrong, but it just seems to me with that little aspect, you said you lost the ability to speak, your number one tool, You lost the ability to think and remember your lyrics and your words and your abilities. So,
and the only reason I tried to do that, remember my lyrics, is because I always know that's something I'll never forget. I'm like, remember your favorite song. Remember the first song you wrote, whatever it is, stuff that I know is like deeply rooted in my self-conscious. And I was blank. I couldn't remember a thing. I couldn't speak. The woman who I was with says that she saw in my eyes. She's like, I knew you weren't here. And that's why I called my friend. I went and got help. She means she rushed in the house with Benadryl. She didn't know what to do.
Right.
But she was trying to help me. She knew. She was, she knew something was going on. Obviously, she didn't know what.
That's wild. You're right. I wouldn't say unbelievable because I've studied a lot of different cases. And as far as demonology goes, let's be honest, it's kind of tame.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot crazier.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's wild. Sorry, like I said, I got a little distraction in studio today. It's kind of messing with me. Normally I'm a little more focused there.
No, you're good, man. You're doing great.
But man, again, that's a tame experience, tame case file compared to some I've read, but scary just the same. I'm not going to say I wouldn't be having to change my pants after that myself.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's still the scariest thing that's ever happened to me. It's kind of kept me somewhat sober and clean. I don't drink. I don't do any drugs and stuff. And a lot of it comes from that moment because I really felt out of my body. And I'm like, I know it wasn't the drugs, but I still want to stay off of everything just to be of sound mind and to always have me,
Right. So, you've got an interesting hat there. I like the hat. Very interesting. It's got some symbols on it that I recognize. What's that? It's called a compass and a square and a G.
Yep.
That's
right.
An interesting. Hey, some of you guys may recognize that symbol. So you mentioned your song, and I do apologize. I asked this in the green room earlier, and I said I probably wouldn't ask on there. I apologize. I lied. So now at least you know what question is coming. So, in all seriousness, you mentioned in a song in how it goes.
Yes.
Yeah, you mentioned in how it goes. One of your lines is, "I started this when I was 22. Now I'm claiming I'm a Mason and I'm 33. Was that just a line in the song, or are you really admitting you are a Mason?
Yeah, I am admitting I'm a Freemason, and like I said before we hopped on, I think that there's a lot of dark connotation that comes to Freemasons that is somewhat deserved and somewhat undeserved. Let's get something straight. Some of the people that built this country, most of the people that built this country were Freemasons. Most of the great men who fought in all of these wars were Freemasons. There are a lot of good qualities to Freemasonry. I consider myself a light Mason as opposed to a dark Mason. I do know that there are dark, nefarious, sects and different parts of Freemasonry that are very, very different than being on the other side of it. But, I don't encourage people to become a Freemason if they're not interested in it. But as far as becoming the perfected man, like working, all of the information and learning some of the great stories, the tales of Hiram Abiff, there's a lot of great stuff in there. And, I do promote that.
A lot of moral stuff, right? I know a little bit about the Masons that can be spoken of publicly.
Okay.
Again, it's about morals. It's about teaching of, you don't have to have a Christian God. You have to have a God, right? You have to have I do know that. And I know that the first secret, at least I've been told, of Freemasonry is that the sun is the middle of the solar system, ladies and gentlemen. That is secret number one of Freemasonry. That goes to show why it was originally set up. It was originally set up as a way to keep knowledge, scientifically at the time, actually, that would have got you burned at the stake.
That's right.
So, I mean, I agree. There's a light side and a dark side to everything. And I really, truly believe that. All the way up the chain to the very top of the power establishment of the country. I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. Like, if you have a love for this country, a deep love for this country, and a love for history and how everything got started, you're going to delve into Freemasonry. You're going to find Freemasons that did a lot of great stuff. If you go online and you research some of the nefarious stuff, you're going to find some of the dark Masons and some of the stuff that they did. So it's just like anything else. It's yin and yang. There's a light side, there's a light energy, and there's dark energy. And, like I said, I think my message kind of speaks for, everything at the end of the day. People know what I'm about. You know what I mean? They know what I'm doing with my platform, with my power. It's, it's definitely not dark. So.
Here, here. It's like there's Catholicism and then there's the Pope, right? Oh, I didn't say that. Anyway, moving along. So you've had that crazy demonology paranormal experience. Have you had any other experiences? UFOs, ghosts, just any kind of anything? Or
Yeah, I saw a UFO at a record label called Hanoa Records with a friend of mine named Jesse, and we were just standing behind the studio smoking a blunt. And
day
I
or
looked
night?
up.
Day or night?
It was about like 6 p.m. It was like right between
twilight-ish.
Yeah. The light of the day was still out. So these things came up, and it was one originally that shot up into the air, and that grabbed both of our attentions, and we both saw it. And then this one, what I believe is an unidentified flying object, it became two. And those two split and went out in two completely different directions. But it's so crazy because they split the moment that we really knew what was happening. I really feel like the moment they knew they had eyes on them, they did some sort of,
the moment your consciousness become aware of the situation, fully aware in. Yes, I follow you.
So that was good because I was with somebody and we both saw it. So we both knew we weren't crazy and we were telling other people. It's always good when you have a friend with you,
Oh, yeah, it definitely goes against the whole you're hallucinating or only you've seen it type deal, right? You're crazy, you're imagining things. It's hard to get two people beside each other to hallucinate the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And it goes back to the Mandela effect. That reminds me a lot. It's hard for all these people that have never met each other across the entire world to agree that some things had the exact same false memory. It's like Berenstein, people aren't saying it was two E's or EY or II or EE. Everybody agrees it was EIN. Everybody agrees it was this specific spelling. Everybody agrees it was Luke, I am your father, not Luke, George, John, Jeff, Roy, Henry,
Yeah, that one really trips me out because it's such a famous line and it's such a famous movie that's been repeated in so many other films and stuff. I can't imagine how people don't understand that line.
Makes no sense at all to me, dude. It's iconic. In the 80s, that was one thing we repeated 1 billion times.
Yeah.
That's one of those meme lines before memes were a thing.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of where I'm pushing you towards with the JFK thing. It's like, I'm going to watch Oliver Stone's JFK tonight. If something changed, I can't imagine that it changes in the aggregate as a whole. I can't imagine that movie now has 6 people in the motorcade. I can't imagine that. You see what I'm saying? Like when somebody referenced Luke, I am your father in another movie, I can't imagine that changed too.
Right. And that's what we call residue in the Mandela effect community. If you can find evidence of the four-seater, if you can find evidence of Jiffy, if you can find evidence of things that history and reality itself, not just history, reality itself says was not that way. And it goes beyond like just going online and searching. You go to the store or you go grab your 1977 VHS copy of Star Wars. It's going to say, no, I am your father. It's beyond just a couple of clips on the internet. So it's more than just simple manipulation. The items retroactively are changed.
And have you found residue with the Mandela effect on some stuff?
I have. I'm not as good a residue hunter. There are some people that literally dedicate themselves just to hunting residue 24/7.
Wow.
That's all they do is try to find evidence of residue. Every now and again, I'll find some residue. I've got a couple videos up on the channel. Fox and their cartoons. I think there's some winking and nodding going on from those guys. Because they'll throw little references like, do you remember there was a show in the 90s about 4 girls in New York City? Do you remember the name of this show?
Sex and the City?
What's the second word?
Sex and the City.
And the City. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of people remember Sex in the City.
I've heard this one before, actually, now that you bring it up. And I know it was Sex and the City. I just know it.
Right. And that's fair enough, to each person's memory.
Right. Well, what do you remember? Do you remember in or and?
I personally remember in.
Oh, wow.
But I wasn't a fan of the show.
This is the problem with the Mandela effect, is we got to get on the same page.
Right. But, I didn't watch the show. I wasn't a fan. That's not something I would stake my 100% on. That's something that, kind of in passing, it seems like it was into me, that just seems right. I'm not going to stand on and say 100%. I know it was. I was a big fan. No, I wasn't. Nope.
Yeah. The thing I have a problem with In is because I remember the show having a darker tone, like they were showing sex and stuff, but it was a lighter show. So Sex and the City seems like a lighter girl thing, but Sex in the City sounds like a porno. You know what I mean? I feel like HBO would have shut that right down.
I feel like HBO would have done it to get the ratings, but I mean, it's HBO we're talking about. They competed with Skinamax, let's be honest. But the reason I brought that up is about 3 or 4 times I've heard reference on these different Fox cartoons from Bless the Hearts to The Simpsons, where they reference Sex in the City. And they'll say Sex in the City.
Wow.
Or they'll reference just these little small references that if you aren't in the know, you're not going to know. It's not like they're blatantly making fun of something or the Mandela people, or it's if you aren't Mandela affected, it's just going to go over as one of those goofy, corny cartoon jokes, and you're never going to think another thing of it.
Right.
Stewie and Brian, and in Family Guy, I can't remember which one they did, but they made a reference to Berenstein. They made a reference to the Berenstein, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
Woodward and Berenstein. Do you remember who Woodward and Berenstein were?
No.
Nixon. The lawyers that took down Nixon.
Oh, okay.
So they had found in the cartoon, Brian and Stewie had found this thing about Pawtucket Pat that founded Quahog, this brand new information. They're going to uncover it. And Brian says, we're going to be like, what's his name? Berenstein. And then it jumps over and shows Papa Bear in a deep throat type situation in a parking garage, handing over a piece of paper saying, follow the honey. I mean, clear Berenstein reference.
Wow.
It doesn't work any other way. The lawyer's name is still Berenstein. That was part of the Nixon.
I think that Seth MacFarlane is a guy who, and that's the creator of Family Guy for your listeners who don't know.
Yes.
I think that he's a guy who has a lot of inside knowledge. I mean, this guy apparently had a plane ticket on 9/11 to be on that trip and somehow got out of it. So that should raise red flags right away. How did that happen? He says that he drank too much the night before and that he overslept and missed his flight. And therefore, he saved his life by not getting on the 9/11 planes. But I think it's obviously a lot more obvious that somebody either tipped him off or knew what was happening and told him to not get on that plane. So if you look, there's so many time travel references. He only talks about Back to the Future, so much so that in his film, his Western film, A Million Ways to Die in the West, they open a barn door and all of a sudden you got Christopher Lloyd sitting in there with the DeLorean. He's obsessed with time travel. That's why Stewie is always time traveling and building new time travel devices. And just, I mean, really peep your eyes to what's going on in that show. And they're talking about everything. It's very, occulted, but it's there.
So let me play devil's advocate, and I don't disagree with him occulting things. And let's be clear about the word occult, because I know most of my audience understands the meaning, but occulted does not mean a dark group of people that are making stuff.
Does not.
Occulted means hidden, kept secret.
That's right.
That's all that word means. I know the Christians have put one heck of a connotation on it, but it actually just means hidden.
That's why I love Latin breakdowns, because if you really look at the Latin and Greek breakdowns, which is the majority of colloquial English nowadays, you're going to see that that word comes from the word oculus, which means eye. So they're literally just saying, out of view of the eye, what's hidden, what you cannot see. So that's why you see ocular this and ocular that when you're going to somebody who's working on your eyes or giving you contacts or glasses. It's all ocular, ocu this. So that's where the word comes from.
And if it's occulted, it's hide from the ocular. I like that. Now, I just learned something else new. There we go.
Right on.
Learn something new, ladies and gentlemen, every day. Your day has been wasted. Personally, it's stuff I learned, forgot, and learned again. But there was a point to, I was going to play devil's advocate on this because 9/11, I've studied quite a bit as on another side, though. Not more so for the 9/11, because if you buy 9/11, let's be honest, I've said this 100 times. If you buy the official story of 9/11, you have to literally suspend the laws of physics for 24 hours.
That's right.
I know it's a load of haha there.
Yeah.
But that aside, premonition is something that I've done a lot of study into. And the random number generator test, and I don't know how much you know about these, but the idea that consciousness affects random number generators is the idea. And there's something called the Global Consciousness Project. Something sounds like you may be quite interested in. And what they've done is they've set up these random number generators around the world, and they all report to this database. And they should hold the exact randomness. They should just randomly generating numbers. There should be no connectivity, no highs, no lows, just random. 24. Well, I've heard 24. I've heard 12. Let's go with the 12 because I think that's the one that. The guy that actually ran the thing, Dean Radin, actually said within 12 hours prior to the event occurring on that date, on 2001, the random number generators lost their randomness and stayed in sync for roughly 12 hours prior to and after the event. So the only way that could be possible is if the human consciousness, the idea here, was affecting and knew somehow prior to it occurring was affecting these random number generators to stop the randomness from occurring at all. And Osama bin Laden himself is quoted as saying he was scared he was going to be busted from people's dreams and premonitions. So I don't think that perhaps McFarlane in this particular case was tipped off. There's a lot of evidence to show that on days that there are major train accidents, just the overall number of passengers for some reason is much lower than other days.
Interesting.
This is just by the statistics.
So when the numbers stop spouting, when they stop spouting random numbers, what numbers were they spouting then?
Now, that I don't have the information of. I'm not sure if it was like they all went high and stayed high, or they all went low and stayed low, but the random error, they all had the same numbers. Like, I don't know exactly.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Are you there? I hear you.
Can you hear me, buddy?
All right, there we go. I guess I had a little internet burp there. Sorry about that.
Or a CIA burp.
Yeah, CIA burp. There you go. Those CIA guys, they're evil, I tell you what. I was convinced for a long time that they had went rogue. Now I'm convinced that they're all rogue. All of the alphabets are rogue.
Exactly.
Okay, I got one more Mandela effect for you. How old are you, sir, if you don't mind me asking?
33.
33. I know that because you've told me 15 times tonight, and I've repeated it 4. So, so you remember Ed McMahon, right?
Ed McMahon, the wrestler.
No, not Vince McMahon.
Oh, that's
Ed
Vince McMahon.
The old guy.
Yeah, vaguely.
Okay, so that wouldn't really affect you.
Wait. Is he a 9/11 truther?
No. Ed McMahon's no longer with us. Ed McMahon was on the Johnny Carson show years back. And he used to work for this company. It was a sweepstakes company. Do you remember, Randy? Do you remember what sweepstakes company he used to work for?
It was the not Will Fortune, sweepstakes.
They used to send out the mailers all the time.
Yeah. Why are you asking me right now?
Because he wouldn't give me an answer, so I thought maybe you would. So I don't want to lead the question. So it was Publishers Clearinghouse that a lot of people remember him working for. And they sent out the mailers with his little symbol on it.
That sounds familiar.
That sounds familiar. Okay, I don't want to lead. Once again, I hate leading the answer here.
No, go ahead.
He's never worked for that company. Apparently, he always worked for a company called American Family Publishers with Dick Clark. I don't remember him working for this other company. I remember him being part of Publishers Clearinghouse. And it's to the point Publishers Clearinghouse can't figure out why everybody associates him with their brand.
Wow.
Yeah. Still to this day, they can't figure out why people keep associated with him. And according to history, he's never worked there anyway. Reality says he's never worked for him. It's crazy. I just said, I didn't know, like, you're on that cusp. I wasn't sure if you would remember that one or not. You know what I mean?
No.
All right. So it has been an absolute pleasure. Nick, is there anything that you would like to say before we close out here? Any message you would like to get out? Anything you that we haven't covered? Anything?
Well, again, I just want to thank you for having me on. I think that the BBC link that I sent you is a good reference for people if they want to go on and see some of the stuff that I talked about. My Instagram at Nick Natoli, NickNittoli. There's a few truther posts on there that I think that your crowd will like, and you can find me on everything at Nick Natoli.
That is awesome. And we'll try to put those links. He sent me a laundry list of links to drop here in the description below. So we'll try to remember to get those in there. If not in there right now, they will be really, really soon.
Awesome.
On this other, once again, can you go over this other foundation you're working with? I think this is really, really awesome.
Yeah, the link is www.band, B-A-N-D, B, the letter B, and then drafting, drafting.com/muddy, M-U-D-D-Y, up. And you can go ahead and purchase a T-shirt on there, and some of the proceeds will go to Children of the Night, which, like I mentioned earlier, helps children out of sex trafficking and then helps them kind of establish a life after getting out of that life.
And the T-shirts, I believe I'm seeing here, are $15, right? Is that a standard price, or?
Yes, sir.
And how much of that proceed? And I'm sorry to ask, but is like a third or like $5?
40%
go to the
Children of the Night Foundation.
That is awesome, guys. Check this out: Children of the Night Foundation, Band B. Repeat that one more time. You got to spell it out, but repeat that.
Yeah, bandbdrafting.com/muddyup.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Check that out. It's definitely worth sponsoring. I'm sure we all are quite passionate about something like that.
That's right.
Where can people find your records, find you, Instagram, Facebook, the whole nine yards?
Yeah, I'm everywhere, man. iTunes, Nick Natoli, Nicknittoli, and iTunes, Spotify, you name it, man. YouTube, if you want to see some of my YouTube videos, that's really where I'm de-occulting things. That's the kind of the word I like to use, as de-occult. So I'm de-occulting a lot of stuff on my YouTube channel. You can check me out there and anywhere else, man.
That is awesome. And I definitely suggest the YouTube channel. I subscribed to it the day he hit me up, and I enjoy the music. It's definitely different. It's very open-minded. I personally think if you enjoy Tom McDonald, you're going to enjoy Nick Natoli. Honest to God. Like, it is funny because I actually sent an email out to Tom McDonald like days before you hit me up. So I thought, well, maybe he just like forwarded it to one of his buddies or something. I can't make it, but he can't, you know.
Well, I really appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure, and I'd love to have you back another time, man. Don't be a stranger.
Sure.
You're definitely a friend of the show, and I would love to have you back on and talk conspiracy and new findings and research and how your benefits going and the whole nine yards. So thanks once again for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest, my new friend, Mr. Nick Natoli.
Thanks again, man.
Thank you, sir. We got to close it out. That's right. That's it for this episode of the Dark Wolf's Den Show for Wednesday, March 3rd, 2021. So whether you're on the edge of reality, the edge of the galaxy, or the edge of your seat, we're glad you chose us to be right there with you. The den may be closing for this evening, but don't you worry, the weekend fun is only just begun. That's right, we will be back tomorrow, Thursday, March 4th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, with an all-new episode of the Dark Wolf's Den Show. Tomorrow night, we're going to be howling at the mysteries of the stone spheres found all across the world. From Costa Rica to the many, many islands they've been found on, there's a certain mystery that are questioned within these stones. And we're going to discuss all that and more tomorrow, Thursday, May 4th, 2021. Then Friday, May 5th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. Our network partner, AJ the Ripon Rabbit, will be back with another episode of the Ripon Rabbit Hole Live Show. That's right. On Friday, he's going to be tackling one of the topics that I really enjoy, guys. I think you're going to enjoy it too. It's a really, really funny topic. As a matter of fact, it happens to be humor. That's right. Humor is something that is a very, very amazing tool, a tool that I like to use to get points across very often. So it's definitely a useful tool and can be used for both good and bad, right? I'm sure AJ will cover all of that and more Friday, March 5th, 2021. 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. Then on Saturday, March 6th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, AJ will be back to discuss the art of conversation and perhaps build on this topic of humor and how to use it well in the art of conversation, right? I'm sure there's a whole lot of rabbit holes to jump down that night. That is, once again, Saturday, March 6th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. All shows here on the network start at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central. Then on Sunday, come back for the most fun you can have on radio. That's right. It is the Fantastic Fun Show, the March edition. Make sure you tune in and play along, and maybe you can end up being the Fantastic Fun Show king or queen. There's been a battle going on for quite a few months now between My Life DIY and CSFL champion, or Champion Sports Nation as he's known. He's got the current throne right now. Will he hold it once again, or will My Life DIY knock him off, or will one of you come up from behind and take them all out of the running? I guess you're going to have to tune in Sunday, March 7th, 2021, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10/9 Central, to find out and play along and see if you can become the new king or queen of the Fantastic Fun Show right here at the RipponRabbitHole.com and Ripon Common Sense Radio. Speaking of RipponRabbitHole.com, make sure you hop on over to the RipponRabbitHole.com. That is RipponRabbitHole.com. That's right. Over there, first thing you need to do is sign up for your Backstage Pass. That's going to get you the VIP access to all the amazing features that we offer on this site. What kind of amazing features? Well, first you can jump down the rabbit hole and check out our social media alternative. If you're tired of the big boys deciding what is and is not a fact, come on over where you can share your facts freely and have people to really help you research the real information. That is down the rabbit hole at the RipponRabbitHole.com. And while you're over there, make sure you come on over and join me where I'm going to be right after the show, ladies and gentlemen, over in the 24/7 Backstage Lounge. That's right. Over there, you're going to hang out with a group of people. We have an international crew over there. As a matter of fact, I popped in after I got off my regular job last night and finished out the Tuesday night videos with the help of Mr. Champion Sports Nation. It was a lot of fun hanging out with you guys that were over there in the VIP last night. And it was lots of fun being able to carry on that DJ torch and pick up and continue to play those amazing Beatles songs last night, because let me tell you, he's done a great job over there. He only does it once a month, but it is worth catching if you're lucky enough to be over in the 24/7 Backstage Lounge. Like I said, I'm going to be there right after the show, and I would love to see you guys over there. Also, when you sign up for this Backstage Pass, you automatically are entered to receive our emails every Wednesday. We send one email a week. We do not sell your information. We keep it only on file so that we can send you this amazing information about all the shows coming up, both the Wolf Dens and the Rabbit Holes that we explore every week right here on Ripon Common Sense Radio. And it's in a format that you can send to your friends, your family, your family's friends, or your friend's family, right? You can send it to everybody you think might be interested in the amazing variety of topics here on the network. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Chick Mandela Effect, Michael Musco, AJ the Rippin' Rabbit, my friend here hanging out in the studio with me, Miss Randy, it's been fun having you here with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of all these folks and everybody at Ripon Common Sense Radio, my name is Jerry Hicks, also known as the Dark Wolf. And remember, until tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen, stay awake, but dare to dream. Good night, everybody. How? Yeah, that's right.
Unlocked and into the dark. Some things are better left unknown. And I'll never find you here, 'cause no one's ever What a widow, a peaceful spider. When the grass is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. Oh, what a sinner, is it in her? What's the truth in this riddle? Is love really just this simple? I can't seem to find my way in this world that never stays. What a widow, a peaceful spider. When the glass is clean, she's a sneaky hider. Hide the lies and the alibis. What a sinner, is it in her? Is this real? Just illusion. I'm lost in wonderland, confusion. I'm lost in wonderland of confusion. Is this real or just illusion? Manifestation or a dark delusion? Is this real or just illusion? I'm lost in a